Welcome to the Mostly Traverse City podcast. I'm Julie Bronze.
And I'm Don Pichet.
Each episode, we introduce you to the real treasure of TC, its people.
You're invited to get to know the soul of Traverse City, one story at a time. Enjoy the latest episode of the Mostly Traverse City podcast. Here we go. We are into another amazing episode of the Mostly Traverse City podcast, and I'm with my friend Peter Payette. And Peter, welcome to the Mostly Traverse City podcast.
What's going on, Doctor?
It's a beautiful day. Kind of beautiful day, I guess. We can all.
It's nice in here.
It's nice in here. Yeah, Peter, we've known each other for, God, I don't know how long. I mean,
I'd say a good 20 years.
anyway.
Yeah, I think
Your oldest is how long? How old?
She's 26, but
So
I remember Sarah started coming in here when Amelia, who is now 23, was like a little infant.
yeah,
I remember
okay,
you
yeah.
adjusted Amelia,
Yeah.
and actually, now that I'm thinking about this, that was when I started to take chiropractic work seriously, because on the days when Sarah would come in for an adjustment and Amelia would have an adjustment,
Yeah.
she would sleep far better. And I thought, wow, those adjustments, they must be doing
calm the
something
nerve
good.
system, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
and
that's not why people are here watching the Mostly Traverse City podcast. But if you are interested, I'm happy to talk to you about how to be well. But that's another story. So that's how we met. Hey, yeah. And I remember. The funny thing is, I think the first time, kind of socially connecting, I think you guys invited us to a dinner down. It's downtown. It's across from Bubba's there. What was the name of that?
When the Cook's House
Cook's House was
started
there?
in the row of retail spaces where Paisanos is, but
Yeah.
all the way to the west. I don't know what's in there today, but Cook's House started in there, and they had like 4 tables.
They weren't. Were they at the end where the chubby?
They were at the end.
Oh, that's where the chubby unicorn is now.
That's
right?
what's there
Yeah.
now.
Oh,
Okay. And we
God,
loved
there
it.
was like
We would
16 of us in there that night.
we would identify people we thought would be good to get together, and it was great because the Cook's House initially didn't have a liquor license, and they would pop a cork.
That's right.
And we could run back and forth. I think the party store was called Jack's.
Jack's Party Store. That's
which is
where
now
the
Little
Little
Fleet
Fleet.
is.
Yeah,
And so we could have as much wine as we wanted.
Okay,
and we had
this
some
is
great
a
dinners
history
there.
lesson here at the Mostly Traverse City podcast. And
Yeah, that's right.
I do remember that walking. Yeah, we had the bottles on the way out.
Yeah, we had great nights there.
That was great fun, and what a great experience. Well, that's the first time I remember we just sat around that. That was a big table. It must have been a dozen people.
We always try and get 10 or 12.
Yeah,
If it gets too small and everyone has to have the same conversation, you need to have some
space,
ability to mix a bit.
go wherever you need to go.
Yep.
How'd you guys end up in Traverse City?
Well,
Where are you from to begin with?
so my wife Sarah and I both grew up in downstate. I grew up in the Flint area.
Okay.
Sarah grew up in Blissfield, which is near Adrian, or
Oh,
really
I
near
didn't
Toledo.
know that.
Yeah, and we met at Hope College.
Okay.
But we're here. We sort of come here by way of Frankfurt because my great-grandfather Albert Martin was a member of a church. I mean, back in the early 20th century in Grand Rapids, that made one of those deals with the railroad to have an assembly. You know, the railroad gives the group of people some property because they'd cut down all the trees. I assume this is how this works. This is the Christian Assembly on the south shore of Crystal Lake. So there's no more lumber to be moved. So they're thinking, what do we do with this? And they take the land in exchange for a promise to buy a certain number of rail passes, passenger passes each year. And so my great-grandfather was the group that started building little cottages right where Lob hits Crystal Lake. The more notable one is the CSA, or the Congo, which you drive past on 22 on the west end of Crystal Lake. That one's more visible. It's more active, actually, as an assembly now.
Okay.
People there, I believe, I could be wrong, but people there, I think, still only own their buildings, and the church still owns all the property.
No kidding.
At the Christian Assembly, which is more in the center of the lake on the south shore, cottagers like my parents, they had, when I was a kid, I was born in '74, I think right around then they were buying their lots from the church. The church, the Disciples of Christ, still has a property there with like a mission retreat.
Yeah.
But so I always came up here as a kid. You know, I grew up in Flint, but we'd come up in the summers. And when I got involved in public radio, I thought, wow, maybe I could work at Interlochen Public Radio, and we could live in northern Michigan. And that was actually the first full-time job I got in public radio was at IPR, and then I've just stayed here ever since.
You and Sarah, you were working downstate then? And
So we were out in Maine. We met in school at Hope College. She transferred to the University of Southern Maine. We got married. We were out there for a few years. Isabel, our oldest, was born, and we wanted to get home because all of our family was in various parts of Michigan.
I know the feeling.
Yes. And so Belle had not quite turned 1 when we moved back here in 2000.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So that was.
And
the
then you
path.
came here and immediately started with IPR.
That's what brought us here.
Yeah. Ah, gotcha.
I got a job
Gotcha.
with IPR and we moved here.
And so you've gone from this is the most the American sort of experience, like right from sweeping the floors to now the executive
I'm
director.
Executive director. Yeah, I've just kind of stayed there. It's been a great place to work, and the steps up in role have kind of changed the challenge in a way that's been good. I mean, most people wouldn't stay in the same job for 26 years, but
Unless they love what they do.
I guess if they love what they do, I'm sort of amazed by younger folks who I see. I guess more during COVID, I saw a lot of people just moving, changing, coming, going, and but yeah, I've been there 26 years at Interlochen Public Radio, or 25 back in August, so coming up on 26.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you've been doing this for 26 years, Peter. What do you love best about what you do at Interlochen Public Radio?
Well, when I was in news and producing stories, I used to love the sense of ownership and citizenship that you get from knowing a lot of what's going on.
Yeah.
There was a guy, I forget his name, but he had written some history volumes. I think he did like 3 volumes of Grand Traverse history, and they were profiles of individuals who had made this, who were instrumental in the development of the Grand Traverse region. And I remember I heard him speak, and he said he had been in the military, and he was always moving from base to base, like he was career. And he said the way he dealt with that is wherever he went, he immediately got involved in the local history organization because he felt like by knowing the local history and working with it and presenting it, he felt like he really belonged in that place. And especially when I was a reporter and I hosted a show called Points North, which back then, now it's podcast, back then it was a talk show. I kind of knew everybody. I knew everything that was going on. Wherever we would go, I could strike up conversation with people.
Yeah.
And I always really loved feeling like I belonged in the place that I was, that I am and that I live. And in fact, that's how I became the executive director. It wasn't my aspiration to become the executive director. I loved doing journalism, frankly, and but there were some problems, and people left, and it was just the situation presented itself, and I kind of needed to step up. And I remember somebody asked me, what are you going to do? Are you going to stay? Because the station was having some problems, and I said, well, yeah, I live here. This is my home.
Yeah.
I'm going to stay.
Go, right.
I think I can help, and that was 8 years ago, and it's gone pretty well since then. So, that's
sometimes those change directions for organizations or even for people they might seem kind of tumultuous and oh gee, what's happening here? Something's going wrong. It's actually a process of building back up, and nobody likes that process of it seems like we're sinking, but the reality is in dynamic living organisms and systems, it's a process of cleaning and moving up, you
Yeah.
know, and that's awesome. That's awesome. Raised 3 kids here.
Well, and a fourth, we picked up one more, a young man from Guatemala who came as a refugee back when Bethany
okay.
was bringing youth here. Yeah,
Ah.
yeah. He was Juan. He was the only boy to come. Bethany didn't do much of that, but a number of girls
Yeah.
came, and Juan came at about
Wow.
age 15. So, yeah. Wow. But three biological who spent their whole life here.
So you've got Traverse City, Northwest Michigan, Lower Michigan anyway, kind of like imprinted in you now. And I don't have to tell you that this community is way different than it was 20 years ago,
Yeah.
where you could walk down the street and recognize, even if you're only here for 5 years, you were going to recognize a number of people. I don't know about you,
Yeah.
but Julie and I we went downtown a few weeks ago, and we walked up, you know, and down the west to the east and the east to the west. And we didn't see a soul
Anybody
that
that
we
you
knew.
knew.
And I thought, what the heck? What happened here? You know?
Yeah.
And I know you guys have had to have that experience a little bit to some degree, at least one block.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, but, you know, so like, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm saying
Yeah.
like, what, if someone's new to this community, how would you suggest it's a way that they can plug in, they can be connected to this community?
That's a great question. Your experience was resonating with me. I've recalled recently how when Right Brain was at its original location, it was like one of the first breweries,
Yeah,
microbreweries
it
in
was
Traverse
like,
City.
yeah,
I
Russell.
remember I would go
It was
down
in the
there.
barber shop there.
It was,
Yeah.
and he may cut hair at his current location,
Yeah.
but I would go there alone, just assuming I'd see somebody I know.
Right,
You know, and it always worked out. But now we've got like 18 breweries.
Yeah,
you
they're
know,
all spread out.
Yeah,
and
you're not going to see anybody. But how, you know, Julie may have given me this question. I should have been more prepared. How would people get connected? That's a hard one for me because I've been here so long and I know so many people.
I know,
And
I know.
and I'm connected in.
The strategies are different, right?
Yeah,
Like,
they are. I'm coming up short here.
you know, I got to tell you that and I didn't even, you know, to be honest, when you mentioned that story a little bit earlier about us meeting down at the cook's house and with all those folks, and you know, that's a strategy that Julie and I have been doing a couple, 3 times a year, is just inviting people that are kind of new to the area and sitting down and connecting with them, you know.
Right, right.
But still, I somehow have to find them. You know what I mean?
right.
And
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I mean, there are many things. There are all kinds of
well, you got
places where
involved.
people
I know you were
are
involved with some of the
gathering.
sporting.
Yeah, and that's a common tactic, right? GT Social Sports. I play
that's the-
Ultimate
yeah.
Frisbee, which
That's
is
the
its
one,
own entity. I've been down to the Alluvion a couple times in the past month. There is interesting music in a fairly sociable environment almost every night
I know it
of
is
the week
amazing
at a
how
pretty
frequent-
low ticket price. I don't know. I see all kinds of different little clubs, and I was talking to someone who's a part of GT Humanists, and he was saying they had 80 people at an event. There's a lot going on out there. I find, but I don't, you know, which ones are going to be the best way to build the most, you know, to connect into
I think
people.
the challenge is, you know, as I see it, is you're not wrong. Like, there's all kinds of stuff going out there. How do we find out about it? How do we get to, you know, how do we get to point people in a direction, or this or that or the other thing, you know? And yeah, I mean, it's a problem that we either continue to work to solve, or we're going to have, you know, 500,000 people up here, 250,000 people that don't know each other, and that's part of the reason we're doing the Mostly Traverse City podcast, is like, what are the strategies? I'll tell you the strategy you used about the cook's house. I love it. I think that's a great thing, and you know, you meet some new people to town, and hey, we're getting together and let's go have dinner, and 10 people just get to be pals. You know,
That's a new focus for us at IPR is event creation.
Yeah.
You'll love this event. I wish you'd known about it because you might have even come. You probably know Rich Brower,
I know
the
Rich Brower
filmmaker.
a little
And,
bit. Yeah.
So he and I had this email exchange about his movie Escanaba in the Moonlight.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like more than a year ago, and he pointed out that it was its 25th
Oh my God.
anniversary, and I said, hey, we should show that. So IPR we do a lot of things with the Garden actually over in Frankfurt.
Okay.
I find some of these smaller communities it's a little easier because there's just a few players doing things, and a lot of the so the energy is sort of focused in a few places. The Garden's great to work with, so we showed Escanaba. It was two days before the opening of firearm season, so it was Thursday night, the
Perfect timing,
13th.
yeah.
So we tied it to deer season. We found some chefs to do a venison chili cook-off.
Nice.
So we had like Rick Schmidt
yeah,
from Storm
yeah,
Cloud
yeah.
cooked up a pot, and we had 4 all together. And we like packed that place
kidding,
with
that's
people
awesome.
who were tasting and voting
Yeah.
on chili. Rich and I
had
did a
some
little
words,
thing
yeah.
up front,
Yeah.
and then we watched the movie, which was it was kind of a yuck. I mean, it was a little cringy, but kind of really funny. I mean, it's
you hadn't
like
seen the film before?
it had been a while.
Yeah.
And I was like, what's this going to be like? And
Yeah.
it's just, that old sort of Dumb and Dumber humor. I mean, it still kind of lands.
Yeah.
But it was a cool event. It was a good, there were like a lot of public radio people there, but there were a lot of hunters there. It
Yeah.
was, so I think, this isn't an answer for somebody listening, but I do see that, especially media. I mean, we need to connect people. We need to bring people together, and that's something that we spend a fair amount of time, creating events.
So I think one of the I think also the idea of people coming together works better when people that want to come together come together.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? So the art of collaboration, which wasn't, it's kind of a funny thing. It wasn't that necessary or required or demanded in a smaller community.
Right.
You could kind of do it all by yourself. But you know what I mean? As it's bigger, it's the collaboration becomes more important.
That's
I
right.
think.
That's right.
And it's a little ironic, but I think that's the way we see it, and it's kind of funny because I think we have to learn. What I'm kind of sensing is it's not innate for, especially in business or in that type of thing, for that kind of collaboration to just be instinctive. We have to kind of really think it through,
Yeah.
I learned a lot of that working with the curling club and some of the folks that are involved with the curling club, and it's like, we're going to do this all by ourselves. And no, we cannot do this all
That's
by
right.
ourselves.
That's right.
And then we have to figure out where can we connect with people and
That's right.
and make this work for everybody. And
Yeah.
it's great that you guys at NPR are looking through some strategies for that. And I think that's going to be an important part of how, adding another 100,000 people into this community is going to pan out.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, institutions have to collaborate, and sometimes it's not natural. But we find a lot of great partners out there.
Yeah,
There's
and
a
it's
lot
kind of fun when
interesting
you find
people
it. It's sort of
Yeah.
like a treasure hunt.
That's
like,
right.
Man,
That's
well,
right.
who do you know? It's
Yes.
kind of fun.
Yes, absolutely.
You've got an opportunity to sort of, in what you do, sort of hear from around the world, around the country for sure. And you could be anywhere. You guys could pack up and leave, and you could probably do a side swipe, side transfer.
Yeah.
Why do you stay?
It's hard to imagine leaving at this point. I don't. I never think about departing. I can't. I mean, we love it here.
Yeah.
I live on 6th Street, right by Munson Hospital. I can walk down to the beach. I mean, I feel badly about what's happened to the price of housing, because the life we have that we were able to get into, 25 years ago is a wonderful existence. I mean,
Timing is kind of important.
timing is kind of important. I mean, I don't know what else I would want in in a community that
Yeah.
like what I would move for other than work, and I very much enjoy
Yeah.
IPR and like we've been saying, I know everybody.
Yeah.
I don't know all the social capital you build up. Why would I walk away from that?
People that know you well, Peter, what would they say is your superpower?
Oh, so this one, I don't know what people would say, but I spent some time brainstorming this one
Yeah.
with Sarah in preparation for this. So don't laugh, but I think my superpower is napping. Because almost under any circumstances, I can take the perfect 10 to 15 minute nap.
Oh,
I never go longer. I always bounce up refreshed. And even
That's
if
a power tool. This is not a superpower. This is a super skill that you've learned.
Okay. That's what Sarah said. She was
Yeah.
saying, well, maybe that's a skill. I said, well, that's the best.
That's a
I
learned
have.
skill.
So that's all I got for you.
Now, but I'll let you throw it off as a superpower if you want. But I'm gonna tell you what I think your superpower is.
Okay,
In
great.
just a second, because I've known you for a minute. But that napping thing, I had a coach early on in my career, and he demanded that we do that.
Really?
That I take a 15-minute nap every day.
Yeah.
And I've been doing it for 30 plus years, probably like 32 years.
Yeah.
And it took about 30 days. I don't know how you trained yourself, but remember those watches with you poke on them with the digital, and you could have an alarm on
Oh,
there?
yeah.
Because my fear was I'm going to fall asleep at lunchtime and I'm not going to wake up, and I got people to see things to do. And that took about 25 days, and now I can do it. I can go anywhere. Several days of the week, I'll just lay back, I'll go in my car, put the seat back.
Yeah.
I'm down for 10 and up. Good to go.
Feeling good. Yeah.
I'll tell you, there's a strategy right there, right out of the executive director of IPR, exactly where you would expect to get this kind of information. Peter Payette with a power nap. And it's trainable. And you know what? If you want to do power napping, get a hold of Peter, get a hold of me, and I can teach you a strategy on how to do this. It's the tool to longevity.
I didn't actually train. I didn't have a system. I've just sort of developed that skill.
You didn't have to train it?
No. See, so maybe
So
it is a
maybe it is a
superpower for me. Yeah.
superpower. Crap. Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Well, Peter, I've really enjoyed this time together on the Mostly Traverse City podcast. I'm grateful that we get to do life together in this community.
Yeah.
And we do it in different ways. But I'm grateful. You know what? We talk about your superpower. I think, Peter, you have the ability to be able to see what other people can't see.
Yeah, that's probably
Napping
I have
might be
big
good.
vision.
Napping might be a power, and I put it in the deck, but I think you have the ability to see what others don't see. And
yeah,
and
you know
I
the
value
thing I've
that.
seen today. I mean, I think your question, what should people do? I think people have to initiate. Like the community we want, we've got to make it. You go out and you build it one event at a time, one gathering, one little concert, one showing of
and you
of a
demonstrate.
film.
You start. Like, let's get 10 strangers together and make sure they don't beat the hell out of each other.
Make sure we have plenty of wine.
That's another tool.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, appreciate your time on this. Appreciate what you do for our community. And we're grateful to have you on the Mostly Traverse City podcast.
Thank you.
So until next time, with Peter Payette, I'm Don Pichet. Thanks for watching the Mostly Traverse City podcast.
Thanks for tuning in to the Mostly Traverse City podcast. Until next time, stay curious, stay connected, and keep living your own kind of magic.